All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Thursday, July 17th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson, and this is All in Horns presented to you by Rogue Sports Network. If you have followed this channel for any length of time, you know that Jake and I are big what-if guys, and this is a what-if episode for the people out there today. If you like hypothetical conversations, this is the episode for you. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Spread it to all your friends. If they also want to be part of the conversation, join us in the comments section. We always like to interact with you there as well. Today's episode, Jake, we're going to be talking about where would Vince Young land in today's NFL with the different skill sets of today's quarterbacks, being able to have a little bit more freedom in sidearming it, extending plays with their legs, having more of an RPO style offense within the NFL systems, and kind of going more so college centric to maybe adapt to more of the quarterback skill set of guys coming out of the college game. And instead of trying to make these college players adapt to the NFL game, the NFL is now adapted to the college game. Where do we think Vince Young would fall in today's NFL? It would have to be within a certain system. It had to be under a certain coaching scheme, and it would have to be within a certain offense. But man, I think today's NFL bodes for his skill set more than whenever he played any day of the week.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, you have to have a small caveat here. I think of not having some of the off the field issues that he had, but assuming those wouldn't have happened, I mean Vince Young. The thing about him too is he did have some flashes of brilliance in the NFL. I mean, he was on the Madden cover. Let us not forget.
Well, he was rookie of the year. I mean, he was an all-star. He was a Pro Bowler. Like the guy was. It wasn't, and this was like his rookie season, so he was supposed to kind of be this big up and coming thing. It just unfortunately fell short.
Yeah, and part of that was coaching, and I don't think that would be an issue in today's NFL. Because he likely would have gotten drafted somewhere better. Now, granted, he could always go to Cleveland, but look at what Jaden Daniels did this year at Washington. You look at guys in the NFL, Cam Newton's career. You look at Jalen Hurts. You look at Lamar Jackson, and Vince Young was kind of in that first wave where the NFL started making some changes towards it, but still wasn't quite, I would say, fully adapted. Yeah. And I feel like his chances to succeed, even though he did already have some success in the NFL, but his chances to stay at a superstar level would be significantly higher.
So here's kind of where I put Vince Young, and maybe it is kind of a Jalen Hurts category. But I think he's not as good of a runner as Lamar Jackson, and he's not as good of a thrower as Josh Allen, but he kind of has a combined skill set of both of them. Does that make sense? I mean,
no, it does. He doesn't have the arm that Josh Allen has. I think his arm would be more comparable to a Hurts, where you get the right weapons around him. He would have a lot of success passing, but his running ability would obviously be a big help. And I just think the ability to incorporate the QB run game and to get the quarterback on the move, utilizing those different arm angles and things of that nature would be taken advantage of much more than they were. They were utilized somewhat, and that's why he did have some success, but there was also still a lot of just trying to do a normal Peyton Manning drop back style offense. And you got to have that. I mean, the Lamar Jacksons, the Jay, they've all adjusted to be able to do that some, but the utilization and the balance of those skill sets now has just improved so much from when Vince Young was in the NFL.
And again, you just used a great word. It has improved so much. The RPO game is so much more refined and adaptable now and understandable for, your quarterbacks. That I think an RPO system is perfect for whenever, you get a Brock Purdy in there and he maybe does lack some of the natural skill and natural talent that, say, a Patrick Mahomes or a Joe Burrow possesses. You can throw an RPO system in there, and you can have a quarterback like a Brock Purdy have plenty of success in the NFL.
Yeah, get paid as well.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is on a higher tier than Brock Purdy. Obviously, he won a Super Bowl, but he's not a QB you would have expected to win a Super Bowl just based off quarterback play.
Put Jalen Hurts in the NFL 10, 15 years ago, Jake.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he would have been out of the NFL fairly quickly. You put him on some other teams in today's NFL, and he's not winning a Super Bowl.
No.
He's not a bad quarterback, but he's not winning a Super Bowl. He had the talent around him to boost that. But
I don't know if I'm even going to put Vince Young in like would have won a Super Bowl category. I'm just saying
I don't think you can do that. That's just taking too big of a jump. I think it's just more of having a career where he continued to make Pro Bowls.
Yeah, I think the most of which I see, if like Vince Young played in today's NFL, I think I could have seen Vince Young make, we got guys like Geno Smith consistently playing well in today's league, where when Geno Smith first got into the league, he was almost pushed out of the league and almost couldn't get back into the league until the RPO system started coming back in. And now he's thriving as a starting quarterback, and he's a free agent commodity. So it's like, if you're telling me that Vince Young couldn't have had a Geno Smith type career, if not a better one, you're lying to yourself. You're crazy.
Well, and it's ironic because there's a lot of talk about how there's not enough patience with quarterbacks in the NFL and today, and we've talked about that a little. At the same time, there's not a lot of patience with a team retaining a QB who doesn't do great as a rookie. I do think there's more patience of giving guys second chances. Sam Darnold this season at Minnesota. Get a guy in the right. Bryce Young at Carolina. I realized he was only in his second year, but he was written off. I actually vouched for him before he came back on this podcast. Then he came back and looked like an NFL starting quarterback when he came back. Because sometimes you got to let a guy develop some. I think when Vince Young was kind of in the NFL, there were no second chances. Other teams didn't. I know he ended up on some other rosters. He was never going to get a chance to start again full time. And part of that being his off the field issues, that does play into it. But I just would have loved to have seen him because, like you said, at worst, you feel like he could have had a Geno Smith type career, but really better because he was a better quarterback right off the start than Geno Smith ever was at the start of his career.
I completely agree. Sometimes it still baffles me that Geno Smith has made a career for himself kind of in the later stage of his career.
It's been pretty damn good at Seattle.
He was, and now I think he's at the Raiders this year. And so,
I think so.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see how that works. But at Seattle, he had good wide receivers, but it's not like he had some great run game. They were a pass first team and having success with him with not a great defense either. I mean,
Geno Smith came from the Jets. Sam Darnold also came from the Jets.
Maybe the Jets in Cleveland are just purgatory. That is
Aaron
one thing
Rodgers came from the Jets. We'll see if he can revive his career.
If he lights it up at Pittsburgh this year, I mean, if you're a QB, you really do. You just go, I'm not going to the Jets.
No, absolutely. They're done.
You force yourself to be traded until they find new ownership or something.
Something goes on there. But while we end this conversation, because we won't spend too much time on it, but Colt McCoy, I know he had a good long NFL career. He was a career backup, but we talked a little bit about second chances. I never felt like he got a fair shake at being a starting quarterback after his stint with Cleveland. And then he got the concussion, which was a complete cheap shot, by the way, by James Harrison. We'll never forgive him for that. But I never felt as though Colt McCoy ever got a real fair shake, whether that be at Arizona, Washington, or New York, of really competing for a starting role.
Yeah, and especially with a Sean McVay, with a Mike McDaniel, with a Kyle Shanahan, and any of those, you're telling me McCoy could have been a better version of Brock Purdy? Yeah. Especially with, I think, Colt McCoy in an RPO system, he would do so well with RPOs because he excels with the quick decision making, those intermediate to short routes, just being money. Mm-hmm. And like you said, every time he'd come in as a backup, he'd do really well. He'd lead teams to wins, and then he'd just never get a chance to stay a starter.
Right.
And he's another, not as much of a what if, because I think he had ultimately a better pro career than Vince Young just because of his longevity
Yeah,
in the NFL.
I
He
think you
didn't have
make
the
it.
heights.
I think you make it 10, 11 years and you win some Sunday night football games and, you win some big games for your team. I think that's a pretty solid career. It's about as much as you can ask for in the NFL.
Yeah, but I think he would have been taken earlier in the draft as
Yeah.
well in today's game.
Well, and
Uh,
size mattered so much more when Colt McCoy got drafted than it does now. I mean,
it was one of the biggest knocks on him.
yep. And so now you're getting guys much smaller getting drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft. And so with his skill set and his ability to run and extend the pocket and play that RPO quick decision game, you're telling me that Kyle Shanahan wouldn't have had his mouth watering for a prime Colt McCoy coming out of Texas?
Yeah, I mean, him in a Mike McDaniel system, that's one. McVay or a Mike McDaniel system for Colt McCoy, and I think he could have been a long-time starter in the NFL that would have put up really good numbers. Obviously, a Kyle Shanahan system as well as San Francisco, and he probably has just as long of a career as he had, but he's probably starting
Yeah.
for a lot longer in his
And,
career.
and we probably see some Pro Bowls out of him, and even maybe we see a deep playoff run one or two of those seasons.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think even if you go outside of Texas, there's a lot of names we could bring up in
Of
this
course,
conversation.
I agree. I agree.
That could be brought in to be like, how would they've done in today's NFL? Because the prototype of a quarterback has changed so much. You still have, and the great thing is, you still have old school style pocket passing QBs that can still be very successful in the NFL. But now it's not as much about. I mean, Bryce Young is tiny and he got taken first overall. Baker Mayfield has put together a really impressive NFL career. Another guy who got a little bit of a second chance. Granted, Cleveland was stupid to ever cut him in the first place.
I never understood why he was
Yeah,
traded
he
or let
actually
go
made
from
them relevant, which
a
is
playoff team.
yeah, and competitive with the Chiefs in a playoff game after they had won a playoff game.
Yep.
But yeah, it would be fun sometime to do another episode on this and kind of just go through a list of names in the early 2000s, the 2010s of guys that'd be like, what if they got a second chance, or what if they got put in today's NFL where they maybe get drafted higher, go to a better system. What could their NFL career turned into?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think it'd be a fun conversation. I think this was a fun conversation. I'm glad that we had this. This was one of our future topics that I think it got brought up midway through college football season, and we said we're going to store this one away for the deep depths of summer. Well, the deep depths of summer are here, and then we made a pretty good conversation out of it. So if there's topics that you guys want to throw at us, or what if conversations, or list, we're big fans of lists, and we're big fans of what ifs. Those are great episodes for this time of year. So if you think of something, put it in the comment section. We'll probably implement it in our show. We'll give you a shout out as well. So for Jake Jimerson, I'm Tanner Carlson. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. And we can't wait for football season to get here. I know we're both chomping at the bit. We're both very excited for all of our teams, pro and college, this year. So again, that's Jake Jimerson. I'm Tanner Carlson. As always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.